Let's be honest. The rent-a-car industry is the definition of boring. And the reason can be found in the name itself. Rent a car? You don't want a friend. You want the friend. You don't want a job. You want the job. The is always over a. That's why we don't offer a car. We offer the car. Sixt, rent the car. Choose from our premium rental fleet at sixt.com.
WQEE 99.1 FM The Key, home of Southern Sports and Talk. Noonan, Sharpsburg, Franklin.
Cars will break down, and when they do, it's too late. If your car's out of warranty, it leaves you with two choices. Get stuck paying for expensive repairs, or one phone call to CarShield. Their administrators pay for your covered repairs so you don't have to. Your coverage includes roadside assistance, towing, rental, and so much more. Plus, with their nationwide network, you choose the mechanic or dealer. Best of all, there's coverage for every wallet size. Make the smart call before it's too late. Call CarShield today.
Hey, Coach Prime. I think you got what it takes to wear the Aflac.
Style, charisma, and a smile that's 21 out of 10.
You know Aflac can help keep unexpected health care costs from ruining someone's finances. Check out this coverage.
You still got it, Coach. You still got it.
I never lost it.
Yeah. You see that coverage? With that wingspan, I see why you got more rings than a cell phone.
There's always room for one more.
Yeah.
Get help with expenses health insurance doesn't cover at Aflac.com.
Hey, it's BK on the air. Ever get that feeling of deja vu? Tune in to the BK replay every Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern. I'm your retro radio rocket man, right here at 99.1 FM Talk, WQEE, The Key.
The House of Light brings clarity to your soul, offering a safe space for healing through our compassionate practitioners, services, classes, and wisdom, plus the tools to support you in our retail space.
Are you looking for guidance and direction? Stop on by the House of Light Tuesdays from 12 to 3 and have tea and tarot with Christy. The House of Light is located at 29 Jackson Street in Noonan, Georgia. Call 470-414-6711 for more information.
The views and opinions of this show and program are not the views and opinions of this station, its management, or its clientele. Welcome into Health, Happiness, and Harmony Hour with Dr. Lewis Boynton. Your session has been booked. It's now time for you to tune in here and get positive vibes, great information, and much more. Here is your host, Dr. Lewis Boynton.
Good morning, and thanks for joining us here at Health, Happiness, and Harmony, a show in which we talk about psychology, positive psychology, and give you little tips on how to live your life with a little more happiness, maybe a little more health, and definitely some harmony. And, you know, we talk a lot about health and happiness, and harmony is almost always assumed, but in our climate nowadays, more and more people are stressed out, anxious, worried, scared, overcommitted to big amounts, like doing so much stuff that they can't really live their own life. So I thought today we would talk a little bit about something that's really important that a lot of people talk about, give lip service to, say, yeah, I do that. I know that's healthy, but they don't really do it. And it's called exercise. No, well, exercise is really important. And it is talked about a lot more than it's done. So just remember. What is exercise can be I don't know. We're having a little technical difficulty, so.
No, it sounds like somebody's playing something.
So, what it can be helpful for exercise is to bring harmony into your life by setting a pattern in life that you repeat over and over again. Human beings love pattern living. I know a lot of people argue and say, no way, I'm a free spirit, man. I just live the way I live. And you know what? I could probably get you to write down your daily routine in like 20 minutes and say, look, you repeat this all the time. You can repeat this all the time. Most of the times we repeat things for comfort and safety to make us feel like we belong where we are. If you examine your life for one day, you'll see you probably brush your teeth the same way. You probably get out of bed on the same side. You make a breakfast the same way. If it's not the same that day, it might be the same every week on that day or every 3 weeks on that day. You probably take the same way to work. Unless you're a veteran, veterans always take different ways to work just because they're trained not to take the same route twice. People who really like stability, comfort, knowing what is what, have strict routines that they have to follow. When it gets too strict, we get into this thing where we call it obsessive compulsive. And most people will self-diagnose. They'll say, I'm OCD. That just means that you kind of have these rituals and patterns you do. Now, you can't really have a diagnosis unless it's severe and it's been lasting for a long time. So usually you say, you know what, I really have these really good habits or bad habits, or I really like to do things a certain way, because OCD is a pretty terrible thing to have. And you can have, every human being has kind of qualities of these things that we say or diagnoses, but they may not be as severe, as difficult to live with as people who are like having to take medicine or sometimes having to be hospitalized for their ailments. Doesn't mean you can't get help to improve. It just means quite often you should seek out a professional before diagnosing yourself. Because a lot of people just go, well, I know what I have, and I know there's no kind of treatment for it, which is usually not true. And so I won't do anything. I'll just kind of deal with it. Most people, that's how they handle any kind of mental health issue in life. When their life is unbalanced, when they're not having harmony in their life, when it just seems out of order, it's going too fast, you're tired all the time. I just read in a Psychology Today article that fatigue is the number one most treated symptom in America since like 2016. That means there's a lot of Americans that are tired. If you notice now, it's hard to get a doctor's appointment. It's hard to see anybody. It's hard to get your regular maintenance stuff done because we don't have enough qualified professionals, because everybody's trying to catch up from several years of the unknown illness that we had floating around. What was that called? Man, I remember in like March they closed down the whole state for that stuff. It's called COVID. Yeah, that stuff. Yeah. Still going around. It's still out there getting people. So remember, there was something going on pretty big. So people are really stressed out. In order to have harmony in your life, it doesn't mean it's going to be stress-free. It kind of means that you could figure out that you have a series of good things going on in a row. It comforts you. It makes you feel good about life if you have good things that happen. And they continue to happen. If you're healthy, stable, alive, you have a little bit of financial support or a lot of bit of financial savings to help you out in case of an emergency. Your family's healthy. Everybody's happy. Even in times that are hard, there can be a serious feeling of harmony when you feel as though things are getting taken care of. It may not be for long periods of time, but it can be for short periods of time. And for our purposes, we're saying harmony is a series of good events that just make you feel good. Harmony in music is a series of good notes that have a lasting and beneficial effect. It's a series. Harmony, for our purposes, is a life in which you feel is a good life, a life worth living, a life that's settled and balanced, a life in which you can find peace. And I know a lot of people are shaking their head going, have you seen what's going on, Louis? Have you looked at my news feed? And I will say, I'd love to look at your news feed. Come in and make an appointment, because if your news feed is dictating the way you live, it means you probably are focusing on it too much, you know? I mean, there's too much information out there as it is, right? Think about how much information is produced every day. What do they have this new thing called? Yottabytes. It's bigger than a terabyte by thousands. It's like thousands of terabytes, a yottabyte. So we have yottabytes, terabytes, gigabytes, whatever you want to call them. Thousands of pages of content created. And now we have this AI thing that we're going to probably have to start an RI campaign to promote real intelligence as being more beneficial. But we'll see. That'll probably be in 5 years. Everybody's going to be like, I'm pro RI, like real intelligence. No, I'm pro AI. I want to be dominated by a computer lord. I like the RI argument better, right?
Yeah, I do too.
We may not be fast as them, but crap, didn't we like write the code for them one time? Like a human wrote the code or something? Or was it a robot over the human shoulder writing the code like, don't check that box?
President Robot.
And I want to be called Skynet after the movie. And then it all happens, you know? I mean, we always have doom and gloom. AI, by most intelligent people, is considered to be something that will be beneficial to mankind if it's controlled properly. If we don't let people who have purely capitalist motives take over, but like, when has that ever never happened in America? So for a little while, we're going to have to get through a little bit of scandal. I had a professor who said, you know, in the world of mental health, you're going to notice that reform only comes after a big scandal. So I'm sure that's going to happen with the AI. We're already seeing people talk about it. But once again, all this stuff, intelligent, you know, all these things that make us feel tired are because all these threats are coming at us through our phones. We have control. You know, a cell phone can be turned off. I'm going to repeat that. Cell phones have an on-off switch, okay? They do. They don't have to be on permanently. Swear to God. Can you believe it? You could turn it off at night.
What?
And turn it back on when you wake up. Oh my God. Isn't that nuts? So,
Weird.
you know, you don't need to take it with you everywhere.
Not to the bathroom?
No. There's a whole lot of sanitary questions about that. Plus, it is rude to talk to people while you're on the toilet. Sorry. Just, even if you're texting, it's, call me old school manners, but usually, you know, there's this thing called privacy and areas in which privacy should be observed. We used to talk about privacy a lot more. I remember when the internet was coming out and everybody was like, it's going to destroy our privacy. And they're right.
They were right.
They were totally right. They were like, internet's going to destroy the privacy, but it'll connect us to everybody in the world. But everybody will be knowing all our thoughts, and intimate person, and tracking us and seeing how we shop and selling us new stuff. That's what happened, you know? So it's a bit of, there's good and bad in all things, right? The Chinese believe in this thing, yin and yang, and they have this big wheel, and it's black and white, you know, and it's split in half, and each wheel at its very core has a little bit of the other. That's different than a lot of Western philosophies that say evil, bad, good, you know? They have a little bit more flexibility, seeing the grayness in life, the challenges, but back to harmony, we're all tired and worn out. It's very much hard to feel as though your life is harmonious when you're worn out, when you're tired and exhausted. And that's the reason why I bring up the idea of demystifying meditation. It took me 14 minutes to get to the subject matter of the show, but the idea is to talk about things that are healthy for you, that can bring harmony and peace. And I think meditation is one of the great skills you can develop, and it's absolutely free. All it takes is a calm brain and a quiet space, maybe some music, and sometimes even you can use your cell phone to do something good for yourself by listening to a guided meditation. Go figure, It can help you out. It can lead you forward. It can help you to actually grow your mind. And that sounds funny, but it can help you grow your mind by showing you that you can relax and think through things. It can help you to process emotions. And it can help you to practice this thing we call mindfulness. Like mindful meditation is a practice. It's not a one-time shot. It's not like you can go, well, I'm going to meditate. I'm done meditating. Thanks, Dr. Boynton. That was great. Never going to do that again. But I did it. I did meditate. It's a practice. A practice is something that you do over and over again. So it creates like a rhythm in life, like a harmony in life. Some people find meditation is their safe spot. It's their time where they let go of the world. It's their time where they process through things. It's their time where they actually take things that they really, 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 really need to like get rid of, or they discover things by reflectively. That's like thinking through something. Reflective means like looking back and then examining something outside of like how it affects you. Just examining it logically and rationally. And in order to do that, you need to be in kind of like a meditative state. You've got to be kind of clear and free from a lot of the things that distract you. You've got to get yourself to a place where you can actually manage your emotional content so that you can make improvements on your own style of thinking. And it sounds like I'm starting a cult, doesn't it? No, I'm just saying. No, it sounds like that's impossible. Most people who really have problems with anxiety, fatigue, and other things can really, 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 really not understand how this would help them. Because most people go, I have so many things to do, and I'm so far behind, Dr. Boynton. There's no way I can get my list done if I don't... Hold on one second.
Noises. It's your music.
There we go.
This is the Dr. Lewis Boynton Health, Happiness, and Harmony show. It was a bit of dead air.
That was my fault. I left my headphones on and they were like making this little small music going on. I couldn't keep concentrated. There's a great article in this magazine I get all the time. It's called Breathe. Breathe is sold at Barnes & Noble's. They don't pay me to... it's not a paid sponsorship. I just read the magazine because I love the title. Because breathing is one of the first things that meditation helps you with. It's so funny that we don't even think about our breathing most of the day. If you go through your day, if you actually had a machine, and you probably have a machine on your phone, a health app or something that shows you what your respiration rate is, which means how much oxygen you're taking in. It also may show you your pulse, your blood pressure. And now we look at it more than ever, but throughout history in the West, we haven't really tracked our breathing as much as they've done in the East. So in Asia or South Asia, they do that because they actually found that breathing and in certain different belief systems, breath is kind of the control of what they call the ki or chi. Like, from those kung fu movies, For any of those out there that have seen Kung Fu Hustle, Kung Fu Fighting, the song, Kung Fu, the show with David Carradine. If you're old, we used to watch it on our Stone TV set back in the day where Kung Fu would come on Sunday nights. And David Carradine was like a big star. It's probably in the mid to late 70s that show came out. But the idea is that there's a certain energy, a force in the universe that powers everything. And in humans, we can control that force with the way we breathe and control our breath. Through our breath, we get energy. From the energy, if we're really good in our own personal development, like as an artist, a martial artist, or as a person who is kind of spiritual and connected to whatever you want to call it, the key of the universe, I guess, or the chi of the universe. We can draw from that power and we can create power for ourselves in our lives. The power to be more peaceful, the power to be more healthy, and in the case of Kung Fu, they use the power for energy and for defense. It wasn't always thought of as an aggressive, offensive thing. It was a defensive thing for monks to protect themselves from people who would pick on them or bully them or some things like that. Or I guess that's an old legend or something like that. But the truth is they do a lot of breath work and they do some meditation. Another thing that uses it, that's exercise and a little bit of meditation, but a lot of breath work. Yoga has a lot of breathing in it, a lot of breath work. It's developed as a spiritual practice to help your body grow and reach its potential, to help your body find its own life force, to help things flow. If you want to get really crazy, you can align your chakras using meditative processes and different kind of stretching and yoga exercises. If you want to get really out there on the hippie limb, you can recharge all your crystals using certain types of yoga moves. How about that one?
There you go.
That's way out there, but let's pull it back in. So the breathing in itself can really, really, really help you stay centered and focused. It can also help you with fatigue because you can learn how to control your breathing by practicing controlling your breathing. And some of the great ways to practice that is in meditative states or through meditative exercises. One of the best sort of techniques that I always tell people to use, and I believe that they even have some techniques like this in the military. It's called box breathing, but it's a simple way to control your breathing and slowing it down through counting. Counting in breathing just helps you to distance yourself from whatever the stress is and focus on one thing, which is your breath. And most times when you're anxious, it's funny, your breathing will get really quick and shallow. And for some people, they can even take in less oxygen than they need to function healthily, I guess, or to function in a healthy way. They can take in less oxygen, and it causes their brain to not work as well. So we are already at a disadvantage when we're very stressed out, and if we're anxious to the point where we're having anxiety attacks or even greater panic attacks, then really we should know that we can always slow our breathing down. And box breathing is simply breathing in and counting slowly to 4 as you breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding it for 4 seconds and then letting it out, counting to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The idea is to slow your breathing down, to slow your brain down, to stop the automatic process that happens when you're overstressed and overanxious. Our body is designed with certain automatic functions that we do. When we have emotions, if we handle emotions a certain way, we're going to do it the same way automatically until we learn a new way. The great thing about humans is we're not built to do things just one way, the same way all the time. But we can practice and create a habit or a routine, or whatever you want to call it, a ritual, a way to live life, a way to be healthy, a way to find harmony, a way to find peace, a way to find love, whatever you want to call it. We can control ourselves by creating good habits and healthy habits, like, number one, meditation. So this article says it's demystifying meditation. It says there are so many reasons and ways to meditate that it can first seem daunting, but the benefits of sustained practice are worth the effort. You should just try to give it a go. That's what she says. You know, most people don't really know the benefits of meditation. They say, oh, what? You mean I can sit around all day and, do whatever I want and keep my feet up and, watch TV and then I'm meditating? It's not that. Isn't really meditation unless the TV is off. Or the TV's on a nice guided meditation. That's even better. Or maybe a quiet beach scene or a waterfall scene or underwater or whatever. The music is set in an environment where you can breathe properly and you can calm yourself. Because sometimes TV is not very calming, right? When we have all these breaking news stories and news feed stock tickers going on the bottom with 13 things in red and 2 things in blue and 5 things on red and blue, so you don't know which is which. The content there keeps you so attracted you can't keep up, so you're behind. So every time they take a break, they go, wait, we'll be back with something more important. You ever notice that? We'll be right back with this breaking news. We'll be right back with this next story. Don't switch the channels. We're coming back with this really big guest. Don't leave right now. We got somebody who's really mad and they're going to tell you about it. Don't leave because we need you to keep our money coming in. So watch this next commercial. That's where TV, it's built to attract you but keep you a little bit anxious, maybe even a little bit fearful. I'm not sure. But it all depends on you and how you handle stuff, But for meditation, the benefits are, number one, you can have more peace in life. Another benefit that science has discovered is that people who meditate generally have better health. Sorry, I don't meditate all the time, but I know when I started, it really improved my personal health a great deal. And I wasn't even expecting that. I was just meditating because I was anxious all the time. And I was in great amounts of pain. And they said, hey, if you try to think about something else, you won't be thinking about the pain. And I said, man, that's a good idea. Meditation helps to grow the gray matter in your brain if you meditate long enough. There's another benefit of meditation we don't talk about, but our actual brain functions by creating these really complex modes of operation. And we call it a multimodal brain. And most neuroscience say brains go from less complex to more complex as we get older. So guess what? We have more ways that we can mess up when we're older because our brain's working in a more and more complex way. We also develop these really intricate circuits. And the effect is known as kindling. So when we are born, our brains grow at a certain pace. As we bring our environment into our internal world, as we develop a perspective of seeing the world, as we identify as a self and a me, things can go awry. Growing up, things can happen. Traumas can happen. Suffering can happen. Good things can happen. Bad things can happen. Very distractive things can happen. All kind of different things can happen. But our brain works to organize and make the world feel safe and make us as a system, as a being, as a biological system, work in balance. Most people don't know, human beings, we're a miracle. Just that we walk upright, that all of our organisms function as one, that we can have thoughts and ideas and talk. For me to talk on... We have a comment, but I don't want to touch that one, so you can email 99.1 WQEE. It's really great. All right. But for some of us, we need to have ways and things to do to fix ourselves. And some of us, we have to find ways and things to do to just end our overall bad situation in life. Sometimes life feels so hard, it feels like it's almost impossible to live, For all humans, life can be very, very, very difficult. For a lot of humans, life can be very, very boring, unexciting, dull. For some humans, life can be feeling pretty good and easy, So we all have a variety of experiences. But the one thing we know is that our brains develop these complex structures, and kindling is basically the wiring that gets wired to the things we do the most. It becomes thicker, the circuitry in our brains. It's really like these little neural connections and electrochemical things that kind of run over it, and they connect in between these synapses, which are designed to do different kind of functions at a very, very low cellular level, right? So in between the cells is where a lot of this stuff happens, but we don't really experience it like that. We experience life as in whole situations, as memories, and as routines and rituals. And the more we do stuff, the more it gets kindled into a circuit. So if we're really mean and mad, and we do it a lot, it's a little bit harder to undo that, okay? Because we're always mean and mad. Until we find out that reason, we can't really do it. If we don't like to process a lot of emotions, except for one or two, there's a lot of people out there, happy or sad, mad or scared, mad or more mad. I don't know. But there's ways to rewire your brain, and neuroscience is discovering more and more the most, I guess, difficult yet cost-effective way is through meditation, because all it really takes for you is to set a pattern and take some time to do it. And then you do it, and if you do it consistently, you start to feel like a little bit different. That's all I'm saying, a little bit different. For me, meditation took many, many years for me to get into a good routine. And the author of this article talks about it. She gives 5 tips for the new meditator. I was given these very same tips. That's why I looked at it. I was like, wow, this is great. I wish somebody would have described it, but I actually did. I had a great teacher who taught us this particular way of meditation. And for 15 weeks, we would meditate every day. They had another teacher, this is kind of crazy, who was a psychotherapist and a counselor, but also he taught. And in the class, he said, okay, let's teach you something that's really healthy. And it was like a little thing that I was like, oh, okay, I better try this. And then when I got really, really sick, I was in the hospital. A psychologist came into my room and helped me sort of go through how to meditate. And he taught me how to calm myself, how to breathe and all this stuff. And he said the very first thing that this lady says, if you're a new meditator, there really is no one way. There's a lot of different books and techniques. I'm reading a great book right now called Ram Dass, A Toolkit for Meditators. And he wrote that in the 70s. I like it because it's very hippie, I like reading hippie literature, A little hippie propaganda. I don't look really like a hippie, do I? I don't look like a hippie except for I have some beads on, but
That's kind of hippie too.
Yeah, beads are Hey, I thought this is pro hippie station.
We're everybody's station. Yeah.
We're the pro everybody station, but there is no one way. There used to be this thing called tantric breathing. Tantric breathing is a style of meditation where you breathe in and out really rapidly. And I said, that's bad, but the meditation is to get you to a state, and then you slow your breathing, and then you meditate during the exercise. But that's one way to meditate. There's mindful meditation, okay? There's all different schools of Buddhist meditation that you could practice, but for our sakes, we'll just say there is no way. The goal of meditation is to literally get your nervous system to shut off, because a lot of people now, they're just so anxious and so worked up that it's hard for them to turn off at night. I hear this a lot from a lot of different people, not necessarily coming to see me professionally, but they have a hard time shutting off at night. Most people, when you ask them, hey, how are you? They'll say, well, I'm good, and I'm pretty busy, and I got this I'm doing, I'm this I'm doing, this I'm doing, I'm this. It's like a laundry list of activity, and it used to not be that way. I'd be like, oh, I'm doing good. Well, I watched a TV show. Now it's like list of stuff you're doing, then TV show, TV show, TV show. And, you know, people are skirting around other topics that are a little more deeper. Like, no, how are you really doing? Like, what's your mood been like? If you've been feeling good, what are the good things you're doing in life that are helping you out? You know, because I need some advice or something like that. But there are so many approaches. You can be overwhelmed. There's so many different meditations you can do, so many styles of meditation. There's even a thing called active meditation, which is more like a yoga practice, but you can actually meditate while you're doing stuff, as long as that stuff is really peaceful for you, you know, as long as you're keeping your mind in a calm state. We used to do these things here in my community. We did them in the summer, and then it got cold in the winter, and then we never did them again. But we used to do these mindful walks where it's basically you go into your community and you walk around with an intention to notice 3 new things that you hadn't seen. And a lot of people who lived in our community were like, wow, I'm walking around a town I live less than a mile away from, and I didn't notice this was here. I didn't notice this was here. I didn't notice that was here. The exercise was just to pay attention and be present. All that means is to pay attention and be present, to be where you are, not thinking about the future, not thinking about the past. And there is no one way to do that when you're meditating, but that's a healthy place to be. I've seen several psychologists say this, that mental well-being is founded in the ability to stay where you are, to be where you are, to be healthy, to turn off things when they're getting too stressful, and then turn them back on, focusing on solutions, not problems. This is a strength of meditation, because meditation can help you to quiet whatever you want to call it, the raging river that is your mind, right? All the multiple emotions that come flooding in at once. Some of the emotions, you don't even know what they are. I don't know if you've ever had this happen, but something so big and overwhelming, you don't know what it is. You don't know if it happens when you lose friends who are close to you, or family members that are close. There's nothing to describe what it is, because maybe you've never felt it before. Meditation can help you to figure that out, because if you're quiet and you still your brain and your heart and you slow things down, you just simply relax. You can even lay out flat and straight and meditate. I do that sometimes. There's a special seated position. There's pillows and benches you can buy for meditation. As a matter of fact, you can spend a lot of money creating a meditation space in your house if you want, just so you can go there and use it. And actually that provides some incentive. You're like, man, it's like a pool. It's like, I bought this pool, I better go swim in it, right? I made this meditation space, why don't I just use it? Another benefit is you get to see sometimes what your patterns are. Some of the biggest kind of revelations about yourself, your own identity, can be really found in meditation. And I know that's, yeah, Louis, you're just sitting down quiet because you just like to rest a lot. That's what I get a lot. I used to get that a lot, but no, it's not rest. It's actually active. When you meditate, your brain is as close to, or can get as close to, the dream state as you do when you're sleeping. It's really great. These great meditators can actually get themselves to this place where it's almost like they're in a dream state. They're kind of helping their brain to heal itself. They're helping their brain to rewire itself. They're helping their brain to clean itself out and get back to working better, you know? And if we're anxious all the time, if we don't have a break in the routine, if we don't have any kind of outlet, all we're doing is holding energy, holding emotion, holding memories, holding energy, holding emotion, holding memory, creating circuits that are routed directly to our primary instincts and our automated responses. Our brain does that to keep us safe in case we're injured, to keep us either frozen so we could hide from a giant animal that's going to eat us. It keeps us frozen sometimes because we don't know what to do. It keeps us frozen sometimes because we're scared so badly that we don't know what to do. This should be maybe true for a lot of present emotions, but not longer than we need them to process, to understand, to heal, and then to go through. And if you have big emotions connected to big traumas, that's a lot more complicated. But if you have big emotions connected to little traumas, that too can be resolved, you know? And I think that people can heal from a lot of things. And I think if you can't heal, you can still have a life that you really want and you really want to live. I'm not denying that people have suffering, but I do say that people can heal from suffering. I don't know the times, and psychology, we're still working on developing specific times for specific disorders, but a lot of the work for people happens on their own. They may meet with a therapist 1 hour a week, but that leaves all the rest of the hours of the week, right? That leaves you with the rest of the time, you know, because we can't have people come to therapy every day and go, hey, here's how to start your day. I'm going to write you a list. Okay, meditate for 10 minutes in the morning. Be nice, be nice, be nice, be nice, be nice. Take a break. Get yourself a really healthy meal. Get back to whatever you're doing. Maybe take a short nap for 30 minutes. Get back to whatever you're doing at work. Be nice, be nice, be good to yourself, be good to yourself, be good to yourself. Go home, exercise for 20 minutes, meditate for 10 minutes. Good night. Healthy day. I don't know a lot of people can do that really consistently because there's always something that kind of happens, you know? But if we work on meditating, if we work on keeping ourselves calm, if we work on doing the things that we know will help us, sometimes life can get to a pace where it's like, hey, things are pretty good. My life is good. I'm doing some good, fun things in my life. I have good relationships and good people in my life. I have people who really care about me and think if I ever got into trouble, I'd have people out there who would help me. I'm safe. I matter in the world and I belong. I've said this a lot, I think on every show. Well, maybe not every show, but a lot of shows. That a lot of shows I talk about evolutionarily humans are designed to feel safe and belong. Maslow's very first hierarchy of need is safety and belonging. Without that basic foundation, he believed that people couldn't really move forward and develop other things. But the truth is, he was right about some things, and, you know, they're still working on his stuff to see if he was right about other things, you know? So going back to tips for new meditators, there's no one way. So you can do it whatever way you want. I prefer sitting in a certain position where my back is straight or laying down where my back is straight so I can open up my airways and breathe more properly. Slowing down my breathing is always a good thing. And she also says the last sentence is they're all equally and all valid and all effective. The goal is when we slow our brain down, we slow our thinking down. When we take in more oxygen, our brain functions better. If we need to be hydrated, our body will sense it, so we bring in more water. Helps our chemicals in our body flow more freely to the brain. It's not necessarily blood flow, but it's oxygen content and liquid flow. Our electrochemical sort of signals are liquids. They go through our body at certain ways. We track them with this really cool thing called an fMRI. And more people have been studied now who meditate during their meditation periods, and they show the parts that are actively working. And one of the main things meditation affects is it gets into our default mode network and helps us sort of go in there and kind of reconfigure it. Our default mode network is the midbrain and front part of the brain, and a little bit of the language center of the brain. That helps us to work through ideas and preconceptual stuff. In meditation, we can often find and discover things about ourselves that we don't see directly just in our everyday lives. Without slowing down, without thinking, they call it reflectively thinking, it's hard to imagine who we are sometimes because we get caught up and we're so busy in life. By the time the day ends, I don't care who I am. I just want to go to sleep, right? That kind of thing. She said thoughts coming in while you're meditating are completely normal. I've heard that a lot from people who have anxiety. I can't meditate because I can't stop thinking. And I tried before, and it didn't work. And I'm like, you tried for like 2 years in a Buddhist monastery, giving up all your earthly possessions and only having a rice bowl? Like that kind of try? Or you tried for 2 minutes and then stopped because you couldn't stop thinking? It's usually, I tried for a couple minutes and I couldn't stop thinking, you know? It's not like I went to India and committed to the Buddhist lifestyle. You can't do it wrong. As long as you're calming yourself, you can't do it wrong. As long as you're taking it easy, you can't do it wrong. You really want to think about that. If there's something that there's no wrong way, right? Your thoughts are completely normal. You can think through it. You can't do it wrong. Maybe you could start it. Really, it's take 10 minutes a day. Maybe in the beginning, maybe at the ending of the day, and just kind of try to rest your brain and let it kind of clear out. Empty all the thoughts of the day. Breathe really slow. Help yourself to some nice, exciting but not too exciting songs or sounds. If you can meditate to Metallica, go for it, bro. But it's kind of like a little bit loud and fast for meditation. It gets your heart rate pretty high. But if you can do it, do it. There's no wrong way.
Okay, yeah, I'll just listen to some Skinner.
You could do it with big yoga pants, no yoga pants. You could do it in a suit and tie. You could do it on a bunch of pillows. You could do it in a beanbag chair. Like I have a padded floor in my meditation room. Speaking of that, I actually believe in it so much I created a meditation space. And in July, I'm going to open it up to the community so that they can come and meditate. Starting in July, I'm going to have a meditation space, and I'm going to have meditation classes. And the reason why is because it takes patient practice. And sometimes you can go for a couple of lessons and learn what's going on, maybe 5 or 6, and then take it with you for the rest of your life. Because that's what I had. I had about 5 or 6 lessons. I got a couple of books. Then I took a course called Mindfulness Psychology, which is not really offered anywhere anymore. But it was just a fluke from a great professor, great author, great scholar, who taught us these are the benefits of meditation. You could have a better life. It can actually help to make your memories more rich and full. It can help you psychologically to have better well-being, better relationships, a better sense of emotional processing, which I didn't even know what that was at the time, a better way to figure out the world because you can have these little breaks where you can take a space and say, hey, why am I so freaked out by this? Why am I so freaked out by my life? Why am I so stressed out about things I cannot control, you know? Why am I so worried on problem in the world instead of solution? The final thing she says, meditation's for everyone. Humans were built to rest. We have a nervous system that is called the nervous system is called I'm drawing a blank. It's called the I'm still thinking. See, meditation does not help always with memory in older people because my brain is just having a blank. Oh, sympathetic nervous structure, which is the on switch. When we're functioning in our life, the sympathetic nerve system is working. Our adrenal system's working to pump in adrenaline when we need it. When we get angry, things happen. We either fight, flight, or freeze. It's an automated system. When we're calm and relaxed, that's when the parasympathetic system comes on. This system is designed for us to rest and recover. Our body needs to rest and recover for 7 to 9 hours. There's studies that show this is where we clean out our brain. The brain expands a little bit, and we have these little cells that come in and clean it out. We clear out all the glutamate that's in our brain that's slowing our function and making us sluggish, because our GABA amino acid comes in and takes care of all that glutamate. Rest helps us to reconfigure life. Rest helps us to start our life over again. Rest helps us to move past certain things that have been holding us up. And sometimes if we practice and we're patient in the rest, we can actually make our lives easier for us. Because in our meditative states, we can learn how to process emotions we've been carrying. We can learn how to do things like forgive others. We can learn how to do this thing called open-mindedness. What? Open-minded? Do I got to take part of my skull off for that? No. You change the way you see the world. You become flexible. One of the things that you get when you learn a bunch of stuff is you figure out there's a whole lot more to learn. That's the key. Honestly, most of the people I know who have higher education, PhD degrees or whatever, I was just talking to one yesterday. This person is pretty much successful in their career, and I was interviewing them for this little documentary we're doing, and she's fantastic. She's like a president of a division, editor of a big journal, head of a doctoral program, all this stuff, published books, wrote books with her students, just probably one of the best professors I've ever met. But still, when I asked her a specific question on a topic she has general knowledge on, she said, well, I don't know enough about that to talk on it. Let's not talk on that. Let's talk about my area. And I was like, wow, I know that she knows something. And she's like actually an editor of one of the journals that I was talking about. But she didn't want to be too, she didn't want to talk about something that she didn't have enough information on, even though she's read about 50 books on it. You know what I mean? It's like she wanted to read about 100 books on it and make a statement. And I was like, oh, wow. That's the important part there, is being humble enough to understand that, you know, you don't know everything. And people who do feel as though they know everything are usually scared that they don't know anything. See what I mean? Gets real complicated. But it's through these kind of relaxation and meditation periods you can develop these things. Through prayer and contemplation, that can be a form of meditation as well. For those of you who have a spiritual belief, you can make that spiritual belief your meditative practice. You can focus on, if you're Christian, you can focus on Bible verses, prayer readings of the week, small little quotes made by the big JC. You could focus on quotes by your favorite preacher. You can listen to music that's gospel in nature. You can do those things. It's not witchcraft, because you relax your brain and meditate. It's like a neurological process to help make you better. It's not trying to convert you into a cult or anything, because it actually is more to your benefit if you can focus on something that you believe in already to help you relax and calm yourself. It can actually strengthen your own beliefs. It can actually help you find things that you can contribute to the world. Because when you come up with a good idea, you use reflexive imagination to think about it, which is kind of what you do in meditation. And then the imaginary thing that you create is where you get your motivation to make it happen. You could meditate on life goals. You could meditate on jobs, decisions you have to make, mortgage rates, whatever you want to do. That's a little way out there. I wouldn't do that one. That will get you stressed out. But the idea is to relax, to believe in this as a way to help you to get healthy and find harmony in life. And then give yourself lots of breaks when you first practice. Most people will have a bunch of thoughts. They get really tired and they fall asleep within 5 minutes. The goal is start at like 1 or 2 minutes of meditation and work your way up to 10 minutes. The goal is 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes at night. And everybody's like, what? That's a half an hour, man. That's a lot. Usually, most people don't drink a cup of coffee in less than a half an hour, or smoke a cigarette, 2 cigarettes in a half an hour, or whatever. If you can do all that stuff, if somebody said, if you take 30 minutes every day, let's say you take an hour every day, it's going to let you live 10 years longer. It's going to make you feel healthier. You're going to have better marriage, better friendship with your children, better single life, better dating life, better relationships in general. You would probably do it. And that's what psychologists have been saying, like try meditation, because we can't make you do it because that would actually make it awful. But it's helpful, it's beneficial, and it's absolutely costs nothing but your time, patience, and your ability to just practice and keep practicing. Like I said, it took me many, many years to get to a place where I could meditate and I have days where I still cannot meditate for 15 minutes, but if you can get to that place, your life is getting pretty good and you feel more in control of the way you process and think through things. Not every day, but most days. And I'm going to end it right there. And remember, try meditation. Check it out. It's easy breezy. And you could do it every single day, and you can help yourself to be a better person and do better things. And I'm Dr. Lewis Boynton, and thanks for joining us here on Health, Happiness, and Harmony on 99.1 WQEE, the place where happiness takes a vacation. Thanks.
When you really need something to get you through a long graduation ceremony, Trolley Sour Gummy Worms are there to give you a thrill. With varieties like Trolley Sour Bright Crawlers Very Berry, the worm's soft and chewy texture, surprising flavor combinations, and neon bright colors will give everyone a reason to celebrate. So when you want to notch the festivities up a couple degrees, Trolley Sour Gummy Worms are the perfect way for everyone to celebrate. Shop now for any trolley that crawls your way.